The key influential visualization in Power BI is a new feature in Power BI which helps you to measure or which helps you to see the key variables that drives or the key variables that influences a particular measure in your data set or a particular measure in your company. You want to see various factors that actually affect, for instance, the profit or the sales of a particular of the sales in your company. What product are actually bringing more sales? So you want to see what product are actually driving more sales and actually leads to more profit. Or you want to see what factors in the company that are actually leads to increase in expenditure in expenses in the country. You can use the key influencer. The key influencer helps to find out the key variables in your business that drives sales, drives expenses, that drives profit, or that influences any of the key variables in your company. That's why it's called the key influencer. This particular feature is new in Power BI. Introduced in Power BI newly. Is an AI it's an AI command, that is an artificial intelligence command that works at background of Power BI. So in this particular scenario I'm going to look at the scenario whereby this company is into sales and we want to see what are the variables or what are the factors that influences the sales of this particular company. So we will learning how to use the key influencer variable under the scenario. Remember, I'm the sales manager or the marketing manager. I'm interested to know the key variables or factors that drive sales in the company. So in order to start this, the first thing I need to do is click on the key influencer. When I click on the key influencer command, now I've clicked on the key influencer command. Now this key influencer variable, you should know that it does not work with aggregate variables. It works with categorical variables. It works with categorical variables. But in this particular instance, I can include an aggregate variables of measure here in this analysis text box. Now, when you look at it, particular case, I'm interested to know what drives sales in this particular company. So I can click and drag here and put the sales amount there. Now it tells me what increases. Okay, let me quickly create a measure here. The sales amount in this particular verse. Now we're looking at a scenario where I want to know which variable in the company or which factor or variables of the company drives the sales of the company. We want to know what are the factors or variables of the company that drive sales in the company or that can lead to an increase of sales. This is a marketing firm, a firm that is involved in sales and involved in marketing. And as a marketing manager, we're looking at the scenario web business. So that's the sales amount for the period. Now let's see which category of goods drives the sale or that influences the sale of goods the most. So now Power BI is running the analysis. Now you can see we have many categories. You can see the categories we have. Now you can see this category we have. You can see among the categories, you can see the category that influences the sales of this particular business or that drives sales or that increases of this particular business is the bank. As you can see, the bank has the highest. So the bank category drives more sales for the business. Okay, now let's see other things that can drive more sales for this particular business. So let's see the model type. If the model of each category also drives the sales or leads to an increase of sales of this particular product. Now we can see the model. Now you can see the model that drives sales the most for this particular business or that leads to an increase in sales. You can see the model mountain 100, another model road 150, and another model is Road 250. Now these are the that drives more sales in this particular business. Now let's look at the categories. Now for the categories, we still have bike on the highest. We still have bike for the highest, and then we have the model road. Then we have the model HL mountain frame is the next that drives sales in this particular business. Okay, now that means that if this particular company is interested in increasing the sales of the business over the period of time, the company has to focus more on the category of goods known as focus more on the buying categories of goods. Now we go to our main data, you can see the various categories of goods that is available for this particular company. Now you can see the various categories of goods. The moment we click on the products, click on the product table, and when we click on product, you can see the various categories you have. We have components, accessories, and so on. So when we look at the particular category, we can see what category can lead to an increase in sales of this particular business. So this tells us that the model, this will tell us that this particular category bike will lead to an increase in the sales of the business by 2.16k, 2.16 thousand. That will lead to an increase in this particular business. Now we look at the value we have here. We have the average value in excluding selected value. Now this will tell you that bike is the main category that drives sales or that influences sales in this particular business compared to all other categories. Now all other categories separated here except bike will give us 186.94 on the average thousand. Okay, now we've seen that. Let's try to add more to it. So let's see the color. Does the color affect the sales of this part of each category? Does the color improves or influences the sales of this particular business? That's the color of each category. Now you can see in this particular case we still have the mountain model is still. Then we can see the bike. Well, when we see the bike, under the bike we have the model road, we have the model HL mountain. Now we have the color. The color here is red. The red color drives much sales. Now, but if we want to look at it this way, we say we want a category. From the category, we want to look at the color. Now, you can see, looking at the category and looking at the color, you can see for the category that drives sales more for this particular business is the bike category. Therefore, if a sales manager wants to increase sales, the sales manager should focus more on the sales of bike or the purchase of bike than all other category. Though the other category that influences sales in this particular business is the components. So the business should focus more on having bikes and components in their stocks for sale than clothing and accessory. Now we now look at the colors. Now when we look at the color, the silver color drives more sales for this particular business. The red color drives more sales for this particular business, followed by the yellow color. So if this particular business, if the sales manager is interested in increasing sales, what the sales manager needs to do is to focus more on the bike categories and also focus more on the silver color, the red color, and the yellow color. Mostly on the silver color and the red color. This will drives more sales for this particular business. Okay, we can still move ahead to say, okay, let's see the subcategory for, okay, if the category for bikes is driving more sales. Now, which particular category or subcategory of bikes that is driving more sales? Now, let's see that particular analysis. Now, you can see the category of bikes that is driving the analysis category that is driving more sales, which is bike. Now, the subcategory that is driving more sales is the mountain bikes and the touring bikes. So the mountain bikes and the touring bike brings in more money, more funds, more revenue for this business. So the business should focus more on the mountain bikes and touring bikes to have those more of them in stocks. And the color which this particular business or the sales manager or the marketing manager should focus on is the silver color, the red color, and the yellow color. Okay, now you can say we want to do this analysis more once in the top segments. Now you can see this particular analysis. Now 5 segments can be found based on our data sets for this particular company. Like I said, we found 5 segments and rank them by average of sales amount and population. Okay, now for instance, let's see this particular segment. Now for this particular segment, we can see the segment that drives more sales or that brings in more revenue for this particular business. In segment 1, the average sales amount is 3.11k. This is 2.21k units, higher than the overall average. Now, the overall average is 905.6 thousand. The segment 1 on the average is higher than this overall. Now, this overall represents those other categories collectively. Now you can see the category that driving more sales for this particular business is bike. It's the first in the toughest category. Then the color is black. The black. Now the subcategory is a mountain bike. So we can see the percentage. You can see the segment contains 6,245 data points with 5.2% of the overall data. So this particular subcategory only contains 5.2% of the overall data. So when we look at all the subcategory, we get to know if this particular data set is many or not. Okay, let's see the second category. Now looking at the second category, we still have the bike. The bike is still the top category, but the color is not black. And we see the subcategory of the mountain bike. In other words, other color drives in sales. Now look at the next category. The next category is telling us bike, but red drives in sales. The subcategory is not mountain bike. Okay, it's not the third category that drives in sales or that influences the sales is not mountain bike. As we can see here, that the third category is clothing, and we can see for this color we have this, after the red we have the yellow. That the third category is not the red color. Now let's go back to the third segment. Now we can see the color is red, but the subcategory is not mountain bike. Just as we can see that the subcategory here is not mountain bike but clothing. Now let's quickly look at the other ones. Let's quickly look at the other. Now the next category here is category is still bike. Remember, bike is a subcategory. The color is not black and the color is not red. The subcategory is not bike. So is other category that drives more sales. Now let's look at the fifth category that brings in more revenue for this particular business is still bike, but the color is not black. That means other color brings in more sales, and we can see the data set there, the data point 7,777. You can see the percentage. Now let's go back to our influencer. Now we look at this particular case now. I might be tempted to say Power BI should only show values that are influencers. In other words, only value that influences the sales, that drives in more sales or that brings in more revenue. You can see the only category that brings in more revenue for this particular business is the buy category, just as we've seen through the other analysis that buy category only brings in more sales in this particular business. So we can see that here. You can see the sign too. So we can see the sign C this. Okay, we go to sales. We bring out the sales amount. So this is not necessary. I want to show you then the category. Now you can see for each of the category, the bikes is the highest. That to tell our analysis is right, that the bike increases the sales of this particular business. Now if I want to see the category that decreases, that brings in low revenue, I can quickly change that to decrease. And Power BI is going to carry out that analysis. Then we can see the category that brings in lower sales. You can see this category accessories brings in lower sales by 1.32 thousand. And the honest category that brings in lower sales is the clothing, while the soft category that brings in the lowest sales is helmet. This is how we can, this is how to use the performance, use the performance key influencers to see what factors of variable that drives in more sales in a particular business. So if you are looking for where to do training on data analysis, get in touch with us, get contact with us. We can for your training on data analysis. Also, if you are looking for where to do training online for Power BI, Tableau, Tableau, SQL, Advanced Excel, and also we also run training on data analysis, both online and offline. Contact us for our training.